I will tell you, I have known this lady since 2011, I believe, and we became very good friends over the years. And in 2014, she got a cancer diagnosis that really threw us all for a loop, particularly her and her family. And so we've been on that journey with her for, it will be 10 years this May. And so I want to share with you this amazing patch technology that we've been using and what it has done for her and maybe what it could do for you and your loved ones. So I'm going to go to her.
Hey guys, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
asking
girl.
me to be a part. This is fantastic.
I'm so excited you agreed to do this. So give us a little background of when you first started feeling bad and you just didn't know what it was.
Yeah. So I really was at a time in my life that I thought I was on top of the world. Everything was perfect. It was great. I had just gotten back from Thailand and had been moving into a new beautiful home and getting ready for my daughter's graduation. And she was a collegiate athlete and, a rising collegiate athlete and getting ready for her first year in college. And they required her to have an EKG. So I went to the doctor with her because she was nervous. And at the doctor's office, my DO, who was fantastic, said, "How was Thailand?" And I said, "Well, it was great, but this jet lag is something else." And he went, "Wait, what? Jet lag? When did you go to Thailand?" And this was the end of May, and I had been in Thailand in February. So he immediately went to action, went and got my patient file, ordered EKG, CT scan, blood work, chest work, because he was aware that people shouldn't be feeling bad after a trip that long. And the initial thoughts were pretty scary, but 3 days later, it did come back pretty scary, and that was a cancer diagnosis. I was diagnosed in 2014 with stage 4 non-Hodgkin's follicular lymphoma. What is follicular lymphoma? It is a blood cancer, and after bone marrow and bone extraction testing, it was above and below the collarbone throughout the course of my body and throughout my lymphatic system, and specifically in the spleen area targeted. It was pretty aggressive.
I remember that. I remember it like it was yesterday almost, and you know how we all felt, how you felt. And I think you took the summer off.
I did.
To try to make some decisions, and then you came back at the end of the summer and you did do some traditional chemo. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I told my doctor that I wasn't ready. They immediately say, "It's time to go get chemo. Let's put a port in. Let's get you ready and hunker down." And I was like, "Ooh, let's hold on just a moment." So I did go away for the summer, but over the course of the summer, I consulted with so many different doctors. Dr. Stan, Dr. Sandrine Martin, Dr. Stacy Hallwigger, 2 different oncology practice. You know, there was so many different doctors and practitioners. And I'll tell you something. When you're diagnosed with something, especially like I was, everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to do something. And I got so many different opinions and protocols thrown at me from people sending me CBD from Canada to wanting me to go live in a hyperbaric chamber in Germany to doing coffee colonic enemas in Mexico, even eating mushrooms that turkeys had pooped on. No lie, somebody told me that worked for my mother's cousin and it could work for you too. And, you know, people do that because they care. You know, rub frankincense on your belly. I mean, there was so many different things. But I will say that I did look at all of it, and I did research all of it because we were trying to take an approach. How could this have happened to me, and what can we do so I, you know, live and don't die? And I did decide after coming back from a summer vacation of a couple of months and spending time with family and friends, just trying to be normal and celebrate life, that I did go with a traditional chemotherapy treatment. This was September, October, November of 2014. And just truth be told, Jody, it made me sicker than what I already was. It really wreaked havoc on my whole system to the point that they would come and check on me to make sure I was still breathing and alive.
And so your oncologist, I believe, is the one that suggested you stop that.
Well, he did get some new research in and did pull me into the office one day And you will find as a cancer patient, anytime the doctor calls you, it's never good news. But when he called me and he said, let's talk, and he showed me some research, and we talked about how sick the chemo was making me, we made the decision that day to stop all treatment. And at that time, when we decided to stop all treatment, this was what he said to me. He said, Alicia, for the amount of time that you have left on this earth, whatever that might be, you're going to be in my office every 3 months. We're going to do a CT. We're going to do blood work. We're going to do CT. We're going to do blood work every 3 months. Some years I would have 1 CT. Some years I had as many as 5, depending on what was going on. But over the course of the last few years, I've been in his office, besties with Dr. B, for the all of these different years that we've been going through this process. And we've had some highs and we've had some lows. I had a really bad reoccurrence in 2018. They found a node here, a lymphatic node that was growing into my brainstem, and that had to be removed. And they, of course, wanted to do chemotherapy treatment again at that time and be pretty aggressive, and I had opted out of that because, honestly, it just made me really scared.
Right, so you're just living your life from day to day. Your girls went from being teenagers to being grown women.
Absolutely.
To graduating college, and now one is in law school, and one has a little girl that I know you adore, your little Kenna grandbaby.
She's amazing.
And I know at one time you probably wondered if you would ever live to see all that.
I did. I absolutely did. The thought of already living past expectancy is such a blessing. But I will tell you, part of that comes from a conversation that I had with Dr. Stacy Holwiger when I first got diagnosed, and I was doing all my research early on in the diagnosis, and she recommended stem cell therapy to me. We were in Sarasota, Florida, where Stacy lives, and she had told me about the stem cell therapy that she had been doing for her daughter Taylor at that time in Southern California, Mexico area, and recommended it to me. But when I did the research, stem cell therapy was $25,000 a treatment. $25,000. So, I couldn't do it.
And you needed more than one.
I needed 4 treatments. I needed 4. That was $100,000. So, really, back burner. That wasn't an opportunity for me. Fast forward to 2021. Luckily, Dr. Stacy and regenerative health specialist Laura Balzer remembered me. They had the opportunity to meet with this scientist and inventor by the name of David Smith, who had worked with Navy SEALs, Olympic athletes, other cancer patients like Suzanne Summers, and they had developed a stem cell therapy patch, and thus the X39 that we're so excited about and talk about now all the time. And she said, Alicia, we just met this guy, and we think that we have found for you the holy grail of healing. And so I was super excited, and, with all of those other protocols and all of those other opportunities to heal myself, I looked at them, but I really never took action on them. But the science, the technology, the patents, the guarantees, the clinical studies, it all made sense.
And the simplicity of it.
Oh, just so simple. I mean, you take a little sticker and you put it on your back or your belly for 12 hours and take it off, and you sleep, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. But, I ordered immediate. I think that was the longest week of my life waiting for those patches to come in the mail. But I got my patches. I put them on. In 3 days, I slept through the night for the first time in years. And I had tried all the sleep teas, the sleep potions, the pillows, the sound machines, all the things. And I didn't get the patches to help me sleep. But I'm telling you, the first night I slept through the night for the first time in years. And it was a deep, restful REM sleep. The one where you dream and have maybe some crazy dreams, but it wasn't too bad. But I slept, and that alone was enough to just want to continue with the patches. About 3 weeks later, I woke up, and for the first time in a little over a year and a half, I had no lower back pain. And I had been seeing a chiropractor for 18 months prior to that, dealing with chronic back pain, lower back pain from an injury in 2020. And it was gone, and it's never returned.
Wow.
And I didn't get the patches to help with lower back pain, and there it was, gone in less than a month. But remember, we talked about my oncologist said I would be in every 3 months for the rest of my life. So that time came at just under 2 months of patching. And I went in for my CT. 3 days later, I went in to meet with Dr. B, my oncologist. And I'll never forget his statement to me was, and he threw back his hands and he said to me, Alicia, I don't know what you're doing. I don't want to know what you're doing, but just keep doing it. And I had the best CT that I'd had throughout the course of my diagnosis. And realize I'm fast forward, I'm aging. And things should not be getting better. Things should be, progressively getting worse. And I showed improvement in every area of my scan, in every area of my blood work, and had only been patching for less than 2 months.
Wow.
He kind of giggled and he said, you look so good. Let's wait a year.
Wow.
I'll see you in a year. So just in under 2 months, I went from having to see an oncologist every 3 months to only once a year.
Wow.
A year went by, and I went in for another checkup. I had been feeling great. My skin texture had improved. My sleep had stayed great. My lower back pain gone. I'd even had a mammogram that year for a touch-up, and she had said, I don't know what you're doing, but your breast tissue looks fantastic. I mean, it was like anti-aging, so good.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic, super excited. I had another scan, another great result. I mean, he just said, all of your numbers are improving. It doesn't make any sense. I know you're doing some holistic stuff, so whatever it is you're doing, you need to keep it up.
I think it's interesting to let everybody know he told you that he would never use the R word with you.
That's right. The R word being remission.
Mm-hmm.
If you Google or research non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, there are clients or patients that get to use remission. But my particular kind and the aggressiveness and the amount of cancer that was in my body, I was told never. And I've asked over the years, am I in remission? Am I in remission? And he's like, Alicia, I told you that's not possible. But
so I think that second summer that you went, he said you were that close,
that
maybe?
was like 10% from being in remission.
Yeah.
The evidence of disease was still there.
Right.
And so I just went, okay, here we go. Year 2, marching forward. He gave me another year clear, and I just went about getting up in the morning, putting my little miracle sticker on my back and neck, and taking it off at night. And this past July of 2023, I went in for scan and blood work. Again, major improvement. Just continual improvement. And he had me come in and he said, it's like you are a miracle. And I said, well, I'm using a little miracle sticker. And he said, how about I give you a 2-year clear on this one? Wow. And I was so excited. The whole hospital oncology department heard me scream out loud. I was with the excitement that I got that 2-year clear to not go to a doctor for this for 2 full years. No CTs, no blood work for it. So that was super exciting. But what was even cooler is when I got home and I had to pay my bill online. They didn't tell me this at the doctor's office that day. But I was logging in and looking at my chart. I have access to all my CTs and my medical records files, and of course the bills. They had downgraded me from stage 4 to stage 3. Wow. On the paperwork. Wow. So again, huge victory. And now I am living with a new goal of being a NED. And what a NED is no evidence of disease. And we're working and marching forth to that goal.